My name is James Parker, though my friends call me JP. I work as an engineer for an oil service firm that develops technologies enabling remote offshore platform control. My wife's name is Amanda. We have been married for 24 years. I'm 44 and Amanda is 46. She works part-time in a chemical lab while studying mechanical engineering at Texas A&M. We first met in college. It's kind of ironic that we met in a psychology class, of all places, since her major was biochemistry. We got married right after she graduated, though I was still in school. We have two kids, a 22-year-old son and a 19-year-old daughter. I remember our first date, a football game, then out for pizza. A typical average first date, nothing too original. But after the game, on the way to get that pizza, we shared our first kiss. About 3 or 4 dates later, I got to feel her melons, and we were taking things slow. Before Christmas, we had hot, sweaty, mind-blowing intimacy. That was when I knew she was the one. One day, as I was leaving a client's office, I decided that since I was only a couple of miles from home, I would stop by the house for lunch. As I was turning toward my neighborhood, I spotted Amanda heading in the same direction in her expedition. I honked and waved, but she didn't seem to recognize me. No big deal, since I was in the company car instead of my F-254 X4 truck. I noticed she had a passenger who looked like a younger male. When I turned onto our street, I still had no reason to suspect anything out of the ordinary, but I decided to go back and check in because something felt off. She pulled into our garage and closed the door. I parked about 3 houses down and waited about 10 minutes to see if she would come out. When nothing happened, I walked up to the house and peered into a side bedroom window through a slight gap in the drapes. What I saw astonished me. It left me heartbroken and furious. My wife was on all fours, clearly enjoying herself with this young man. I had never seen her so vocal and passionate before. I pulled out my smartphone and started recording as I cautiously made my way inside through the front door. When I reached the bedroom door, I waited until they were finished. Then I cleared my throat, still recording. Needless to say, they were both shocked and terrified. I would soon learn the young man's name was Derek. I was beyond pissed. I figured the footage would be useful in divorce proceedings. I then picked up Derek's clothes, cell phone, and opened my gun safe, putting his belongings inside, keeping hold of his cell phone. While I did this, Amanda and Derek tried to plead their case, but I ignored them both. I was not in the mood to listen. I took out my 9mm Glock and also removed Derek's driver's license from his wallet. I asked Derek to follow me into the living room and told Amanda not to move. He followed and I began my interrogation. "How long has this been going on?" I demanded. He said, "About a year, once or twice a week." I asked, "How often do you guys meet?" Derek replied, "Not that often, maybe every couple of weeks." I was getting angrier by the second. Here was this younger, attractive fool who'd been sleeping with my wife, speaking to me as if I'd just asked about last Sunday's football game. I wanted to know every detail of their activities. I asked, "Did she ever give you oral and swallow?" He replied arrogantly, "Hell yeah, she did. Never spilled a drop." This enraged me even more. Amanda never did that for me. I told Derek to go back into the other room and wait. Now my mind turned to vengeance. I could be a real bastard when I want to be. I picked up Derek's cell phone and found his home number on speed dial. His wife answered on the 4th ring. I introduced myself and explained who I was and why I was calling. I told her my wife Amanda worked with her husband Derek and that she needed to come to my house right away. She arrived about 15 minutes later, not knowing that I had called her. While waiting, I returned to the bedroom and told Derek to have sex with my wife again because I wanted to watch. I said I'd thought things over and wanted to participate, especially watching Amanda with a younger guy. They began, albeit warily, as I still had my Glock. I heard a car pull up and went to the front door before the bell rang. Derek's wife, Carrie, followed me inside and immediately asked what the hell was going on. I took her to the bedroom and showed her what was happening. She bolted to the bed and started beating the living daylights out of them both. I gently held her back. I needed to talk to Amanda, so I asked Amanda and Derek to come into the living room. Amanda began tearing up and pleading, saying she loved me and only me, that she would do anything for me not to leave her. I asked her the same questions I asked Derek, and got the same answers. I explained that I could no longer trust her and would file for divorce. She begged me not to, saying she'd do whatever I wanted. I told her I couldn't get over the fact that she did things with Derek she never did with me. She insisted she loved only me. I said I needed to think about this. I walked back into the living room where Carrie and Derek were having out. Carrie screamed, "Why? Why do you do this?" Derek said, "It just happened. Also, Amanda would swallow and let me take her from behind as well." Carrie said, "You knew when we married that I wouldn't do those things." Her comment gave me an idea. I went back to the bedroom and asked Amanda why this happened. She said they were working on a project together, and since I was gone a lot, she got lonely. One thing led to another, and they enjoyed it. I know I've been away frequently, but that's still no excuse. I'm 6'0" and weigh about 210. I run 3 to 5 miles a day, 4 or 5 times a week, and I also work out regularly. Working offshore keeps me in shape. I'm average in size down there, about 6 inches long and 3 around, but I know how to use it. Amanda is about 5'2" and 130 lbs with a 36C26 to 38 figure, a bit thick, but after 2 kids who wouldn't have a bit extra around the waist, she still looks about 35 with medium-length brown hair and a beautiful smile, so I could see why Derek was attracted to her. Derek was about 5'11" and 160 lbs, short-haired and nerdy-looking. His manhood was about the same size as mine, maybe a bit bigger. Carrie was about 5'4" and maybe 120, kind of mousy. Honestly, I could see why Derek would cheat on her, though I didn't condone it. I told Amanda that if she wanted to act like this, she was going to do it for me. If she didn't agree to my terms, I'd file for divorce and send the video to her workplace and to relatives and friends. She asked what my terms were. I said that since this had been going on for about a year, the next 75 times we had intimacy would be at my discretion, and it would be anal every time. She would have to swallow it each time. She would provide me oral at least 3 times a week. If I got a wild idea and wanted to finish in her mouth, she'd have to drink it. She was no longer allowed to wear clothes around the house except jewelry and heels. Exceptions could be made for guests, except the pizza delivery guy. I had to throw in a fantasy or two. Anything else I came up with, she had to agree to. I also stated that I needed to exact some payback involving Derek, and that Amanda would have to convince Carrie to let me sleep with her while she and Derek watched. Finally, Amanda had to quit her job and never contact Derek again. Amanda agreed, admitting she brought this on herself. She asked why Carrie had to be a victim too, saying Carrie had done nothing wrong. I explained that by involving Carrie, I ensured she'd hate Derek for the rest of his life, and besides, I just wanted a one-time go at her. Amanda asked me to send Carrie in so they could talk. Carrie angrily said she'd kill Amanda before talking to her. I told Carrie it would be in her best interest to go in. Reluctantly, Carrie entered the bedroom. I stayed close to prevent any serious violence. 9:27. Amanda explained the terms of my deal to Carrie. If Carrie refused, the deal was off. Carrie said, "So what? That's your problem, not mine." Amanda then pointed out that I would send the video to the lab and Derek would be fired, leaving them without health insurance for their 2 kids. Derek might have trouble finding another job. Times were tough for a young couple. 10:04, Carrie decided to talk to me. She said she hated becoming a victim, but understood my need for retribution. Surprisingly, she agreed and said we should make it memorable. She whispered something in my ear, telling me she wouldn't think any less of me if I said no. I had to laugh and said it was fine. I gained newfound respect for her. Carrie asked me to call Amanda into the living room and said she had her own terms. She said she would agree, but it would be more than once. Since she might divorce Derek, she and I would get together whenever either of us wanted. She said Derek had to watch as she gave up her anal virginity to me, and that turnabout was fair play. He also had to watch as she gave me oral, though she'd need time to learn to swallow. I agreed since it fulfilled my ultimate fantasy. Sure, I wish it was my wife I was doing that to, but this was a close second. 11:10, Derek was shocked by her final terms. His eyes got as big as saucers. I put on protection and Carrie and I did it about 3 times in front of Amanda and Derek. Derek actually threw up watching how much Carrie enjoyed herself. Amanda just watched and cried. Afterward, Amanda carried out my terms. After about a year, we started to get closer again. 6 months later, Carrie filed for divorce from Derek. Later, I introduced her to one of our other engineers, a nice guy. They will be getting married in a few months. Carrie and I have turned our relationship into a friendship out of respect for her upcoming marriage. I know you're asking why I didn't just throw Amanda out. Honestly, after 25 years of marriage, I simply didn't have the heart. My daughter is still puzzled as to why her mother stopped dressing. I just chuckle when I think about it. What's your opinion about me, the original poster? Thanks for joining us in our stories where revenge is served hot. Please consider subscribing to our channel to ensure your next chef remains loyal. Tune in for the next one to satisfy your revenge appetite. If you're below 18, hold on. This isn't for the faint-hearted.